So we're big, we're bad, we're back. It's part 3 of Mix Along with me of the Galleries Young and Restless. I hope you've enjoyed this 3-part series. It's been wonderful to be able to give you these multi-tracks for free. Yes, for free. So don't forget to download them. I love this band. I had a great time writing the song with the singer. We got to write it together. It was a lot of fun. So in part 3, we're going to finish it all up with all of the overdubs and all the other fun stuff. Really hope you enjoy this. Please leave some comments and questions below. If you've been mixing this and you have some questions and you want to talk about, amongst yourselves or ask me questions on how you've been doing this, please do. Have a marvelous time mixing this song, and I'll see you all again in a little bit. So let's examine just the other elements that are coming in the chorus. So if we go to the chorus here, to loop it, we've got this part here. Now I did some fun stuff. What this is my Telecaster mic'd. I've got a small diaphragm condenser on the Telecaster, an LCT 340, and it's just miking the strings and being very heavily compressed. So that was compressed on the way in, and it just adds that energy. Put it over the top. Of my acoustics. So I'm just playing along. Just add some little percussive energy, almost like a shaker. So my 2 basses. Bring in the tellies. The ones that have amps. And this is called a parlor, because it's me playing a little 3/4 size acoustic, a parlor one. And then Phil, my engineer, played. Actually, it was me in the end playing it. Just a pedal altogether. All of the elements together. With the stomps. That's all the instrumentation. Same reverse effect and explosion on the downbeat. Okay, so here's something to notice. Look at my master bus. I'm doing that trick that I've talked about in other videos before, but you see I'm doing a chorus push in my master bus. If I make this extreme, look, you'll see here. So I'm down 0.4 of a dB, and in my chorus, I'm up to -1, down 0.4, up to -1, and I'm down in my bridge even lower, and then I'm back to -1 in the last chorus. So this is like really giving us those extra punches going from verse to chorus. So without vocals, it's really fun. Cool. So once more on the chorus with everything in, with the swooshes, reverse effect. So you've got those drony acoustics, that drony high part that I put in, it just keeps it rolling along. So it's not too jerky. Then the re-intro. Second verse. This time drums in from the top. Now what we've got is the chorus Telecaster part that's coming in here, just stays going through the whole of the verse.
Will come. So keep on keeping on when life gets hard. If you wanna find truth and you wanna be free, you wanna.
So a couple of fun things. Let's go to this first of all. So we just got the whoas, and we're using the same, you know, it's the intro part. It's on the intro channel, so it's got the isotope and it's got our crystallizer here. Just a little pitch change on it. I had some fun on the bass. With our reverse synth part here. And the synth that came in on the chorus remains through this section. So basically there's a lot of stuff that was kind of introduced in the chorus and isn't going away. So here's the bass line. So I had some fun with the bass line.
You wanna see change, you gotta believe. You gotta keep on keeping on when life gets hard.
So there's a mute going on there on most of the instruments. Just to allow that drum fill to come through.
Keep on keeping on when life gets hard. Truth and you wanna be free.
So examine that.
Life gets hard.
So pretty much everything's muted there. If you look at my loop, I just kind of had some fun with it. So I'm reinforcing all of those elements that sound like snares. So add that to the live drums with the samples. And you get an exaggeration of that. And then, as you can see, the tambourine's muted in there. So's the bass. Little acoustic thing. Some blippity blops, just decaying. Not gone completely, but definitely gone enough. And then the two synths. And with the vocal, there's no effects, so there's no...
Life gets hard.
So it doesn't decay completely because the acoustic is going over the top, so it doesn't sound totally artificial. But it's definitely enough to make an event out of, you know, because this as well, I believe, is going through because of the delay on the wah-ohs. So it's important. It's like you can do full band mutes and mute everything and have the snare, and 95% of everything is muted, but there's a few kind of delay stuff that's creeping over there, and I think that makes it feel just a little bit more natural. Now what you could do is you could crank the reverb on the snare more. But I think it sounds great like it is. Then the second chorus is pretty much exactly the same. I don't think we've got any other elements going on in that. It's a pop chorus, and with pop choruses, quite often you end up just repeating like super, super hooky parts and keeping them going. The only thing I'll say is on the end of the pop chorus that we've done here, there is no whoa-oh-ohs that goes into the bridge. Let's have a listen.
Life gets hard. We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and restless. We are one. We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and restless. We are one. It's been a long year for the broken-hearted.
Those of you that follow me, and I'm sure probably all of you, are Beatles fans. So this bridge is very Beatles, at least for me it is. You know, if you're going to beg, borrow, steal from somebody, you know, why not steal from somebody as amazing as the Beatles? So it gets a little 60s there, breaks it up from the more pop kind of chorus that we have going on. So here's the additional elements. Just this driving. It's that same guitar that we had on the intro and re-intro. Just a decapitator on it. Without the decapitator on it, we have this. Then we have a driving.
Find its way to me. A long year for the broken-hearted, those who lost their sons and daughters. About time we finished what we started. I believe.
Put a bit of 60s slap on it.
And will find its way to me.
And it's distorted heavier with the decapitator. Pretty heavy. Got the punish on.
Those who lost their sons and daughters.
So the vocal there, we're just trashing it out. We're trying to make it sound older, more 60s. So, you know, it's driving it very, very heavily. The only other major differences there, listen to the acoustic, loses that choppiness. It always reminds me of Karma Police, to be honest. And Karma Police reminds me of the Beatles. So we're borrowing from Radiohead, who borrowed from the Beatles. You know, there's a natural evolution if ever I heard one. Cool. So let's see what we've got going on here. Keeps that same feeling, but little harpsichord. And some mellotron for full. I mean, if you're remixing this, you're going to have the files. You could have some fun with this. You really could. You could sit there and make it completely 60s, make it acoustic, make it small drums, distort the drums, put a slap on it. Could be really fun. I mean, it's a whole different song like this.
I believe the love I send will find its way to me.
Here you go.
A long year for the broken-hearted, those who lost their sons and daughters. About time we finished what we started. I believe the love I send will find its way to me. A long year for the broken-hearted, those who lost their...
Got our little reverse synth idea. And our bass synths. And then it ends up with this. Little blippity blops. There's a crash on the downbeat, which should not be ignored. Quite often I'll add artificial crashes on downbeats because even though drummers are coming into choruses or announcing sections in songs, they're playing really heavily. They might hit a cymbal and they might not hit it with the right intensity, or more importantly, it just bleeds into the other instruments and doesn't really have the definition. So I manipulated these bridge drums pretty heavily, as you can tell. You know, I created this. It's the same groove. And what's interesting to talk about now, we didn't talk about before because we haven't had toms up until recently, is the toms. So let's go out of group for a second. Just shift Command G for anybody who's using Pro Tools and using it on a Mac. So here's my toms, my rack and my floor. So let's just take that section there. What I've got going on in the rack, again, low cut. I don't need anything below like 40 or 50 here. I've got my expander on, I can take that off. A little bit of a cardboard box sounding. So how did I get over that? Well, I've boosted a little bit of top. So here you can see around about 3.5, 4K. But I've cut a little bit below that at 2K, just a bit. Not as aggressive as you'd think. And then most importantly, I've cut my good old friend around about 500. But boosting just under 100. So getting some low at about 100, cutting out some low mids that are ugly at about 5, and then boosting some highs for some stick. That's on the rack. Now if I move to the floor, let's listen to the floor only. Maybe a little less, so allowing a little bit more bottom end. You see I'm not quite high passing quite as heavy, probably about 40, 50. I'm boosting just a little bit lower, just slightly under 100, around about 100 again. Again, boosting around about 3.5. Let's have a look what it's telling us. 3.8, so just under 4K. Here, cutting 1.68. Cutting 500 exactly. And boosting 74. So, you know, I'm getting close to boosting and cutting in the same kind of area. See here it's 37. No compression. And just using the expander in a gate function just to clean up some of that bleed between. Take it off. See that ugliness in that 500-ish area? Just much sweeter sounding. And those are just single mics on the toms. So nothing too crazy on that. Don't have tom samples or anything. Those are the live performances. Just the SSL channel doing all the work for me there. Very useful. So okay, let's go back to top of that bridge. These driving guitars, let's talk about these quickly because they are an addition. Wow, just a hot printed, it's just a hot printed DI. I think it was the last thing I did just because I missed it in the song. Now you could do a mix with this and make it a little bit more Beatles and not use that, but yeah.
Those who lost their sons and daughters, about time we finished what we started. I believe the love I send will find its way to me. A long year for the broken-hearted.
Little automation go on the acoustics here, pushing them up, changing the relationship. So what we've done is we've got this Karma Police Beatles bridge that we put together. And we're just rebalancing things. We're adding the mellotron. We're getting rid of a lot of the heavies, and I just put an artificial DI Sans Amp heavy in there, changing the bass line up a little bit, tambourines going through. You'll see the transition. Chorus. Bridge.
Sons and daughters, about time we finished what we started. I believe the love I send will find its way to me. We
got this. And there's the reverse effects. Aha. So here's our transition stuff again. It's a pretty cool transition effect. I expect to hear it on all your mixes from now on. Cool. Cool, so transition effects on that. Hope you've been enjoying this. Please don't forget to download the multi-tracks. Check out parts 1 and 2. And of course, hit that subscribe button. Okay, breakdown. Let's see what we got going on. Breakdown chords.
The young and restless,
so, a lot of mutes.
No one can stand against us. We are the young and restless. We are one. We are.
So what we're doing is we're coming in like partially. So we're coming in at the very end of it rather than just a deliberate kind of end of bar, hit it in. Because I love that. We are one. You know, that kind of da 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 is really kind of cool. So you'll notice that I added a separate effect.
We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and restless, and we are one.
So what did I do there? Well, I had some fun. That's what I did. So we've got...
We are one.
Basically, I've got an eighth note and a quarter note.
We are one.
Pretty awesome.
We are one.
The secret really is the fact that there's enough feedback on it. See here, down here, the feedback's pretty crazy. So even though it's only, you know, partially wet,
we are one.
The feedback control's great, and it just really blends nicely into the end of that, going into the chorus.
We are one. We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us.
Got this here as well.
We are one.
So everybody's playing those punches.
We are the young and restless, and we are one. We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us.
And then it's back to the full band doing everything. So that's everybody going for it. All of the chorus guitars are in. Let's have a listen.
We are one. We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and restless. We are one. We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and restless. We are one.
Back to the re-intro, but with the vocal in. Cool. So what else have we added? Well, not a lot. Really just this. So this is my outro electric guitar. It's just me. And again, it's a DI. Yep. DI with a Sans amp. Messy. But then with a long delay on it, just the stop digi-rack, the Avid delay. Without it. With it. It just adds an energy. Having that additional guitar just down, 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 and you see it's sloppy. Once again, it's pretty sloppy. You can hear it. Lots of bum notes. I remember doing a song, and I've mentioned this before, with Andrew Frampton, who writes a lot of the script stuff and produces their stuff, and Natasha Bedingfield and a whole bunch of other artists. And I think I've talked about this story before, but I wrote the song with him and the band using a DI'd acoustic guitar, and that was the main thing that carried the song. And then when we came to produce it, I replaced my DI'd acoustic guitar, and I sent him a mix, and he was like, "Oh, it sounds really good, but there's something weird about that acoustic." And I was like, oh, I didn't think you would think it was weird, because, you know, I'd retracked it with a really beautiful acoustic and mic'd it up and did an amazing, you know, recording. And he was like, that's why I don't like it. He's like, when you played it with the DI, it was rough and ready like this, and had energy, and was messed up, and now it sounds really perfect and pretty, and the song sounds perfect and pretty, and no longer sounds exciting. There was a song called Loving Ghosts by a band called Vedera. You can find it online, I'm sure. And there's a lot of things like that, like at the end of the song on that one, we had some highline guitars where it was just a fuzz tone and just energy, just craziness. And I think that one of the things that I really, really like is the SansAmp plugin. It's kind of wrong. It's not a great, but it's really edgy and angular, especially for me, where I'm blending organic instruments, like I'm recording real acoustic guitars, I'm tracking basses live, I'm doing electric guitars primarily, or not always, but a lot through amps. So when you add a SansAmp like that, it's like a kind of a middle finger, like a rock kind of like edge that just cuts over the top of everything else. It's not super loud, but listen to it. It's... Check it out. Cool, but it's boring. Put it back in. And it's not like loud and over the top of the vocals. The vocals are still huge. There's still those, you know, 20 background vocals, gang vocals singing the parts, but it's adding this extra energy to it, which I really, really love. And I think it's a fantastic way, you know, it's just a simple production tool to just bring in another energy instrument. You've seen me do it a lot if you ever watch any of my video series on YouTube, where I talk, you know, in less detail, but I talk about other songs. I think that it's a really, really good trick. And don't be afraid to ham it up. And here I did ham it up. And, you know, it's just a mono delay, nothing exciting, and does the job. So let's have a listen again. So we're going to go from the breakdown, and then you're going to hear everything come in on the last bar. You got that transition?
We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and restless. We are one.
Reintro. So here's our reintro. Same as the intro, same as the reintro after the first chorus. So we've got the tambourine playing. Keep our Who Won't Get Fooled Again synth going. Re-intro. Our little post-chorus hook. Now, here's a little trick I did with the guitars. I like this one a lot. Now, I'll describe it to you and hopefully this will translate. But Very often when you're recording heavy guitars, you're not in the best environment, and one of the things that happens a lot is you get those buzzes, especially as the guitar decays. So listen to the decay. Now, often with the decay, you'll get da-dum-dum, and you get this terrible buzz coming out. Now, the original playlist is no longer there. I may not have even kept it, but what I did is I took the decay and I EQ'd everything above 1K off. I went there and used a low-pass filter, and everything above 1K is completely gone. So any 2, 3K and above buzzes are not there to be heard at all. Now you might go, that's terrible. Well, the thing is, as the note decays, all that's left are those fundamentals and those low notes anyway. So what I do then is I put a huge fat fade. You see these big fades here, this massive fade. So it fades between a crang and when it goes to crang. And what would happen normally is that as the signal to noise ratio changes, here's my guitar decaying and slowly decaying. Here's the noise floor of my amp if it's just buzz, you know, because it's maybe a single coil pickup, it's a less than perfect studio environment. So my guitar signal is decaying, and when it gets down to about here, this buzz comes in that's absolutely terrible. So what I do is I take the whole last chunk and I'll just take 1K and above and just wipe it out. And then I put a big fat crossfade into it so it feels gradual. It feels like the top end is slowly rolling off like this. And it's a great way to treat end decaying guitars and stuff like that. I did it on all of the electrics, I should say, every single one. See? But I can hear the hum in there. But with this guitar, as it was decaying, you know, I will cheat. I'm going to go to waveform here and do something I shouldn't do, but I'm going to. I'm just going to undo it afterwards. Listen to this. Noise floor, you hear it? Undo this. All the high frequency hiss is gone. That was bothering me. And sometimes it doesn't matter because it's just one guitar. Sometimes you just fade it down, it's fine. But when you have multiple guitars all holding out chords, all with little buzzes and clicks, EQing that 1K and above and then gently fading into it is a wonderful trick. I highly recommend it. I do it in the middle of songs. If I got breakdowns, I just EQ the high end out on the decay, but I put a big crossfade in, so as the note is decaying, so is the top end being removed. It's a wonderful trick. I do it all the time. It's better than fading down, and you can spend ages trying to get your fade to go down and still hear the buzz. But if you EQ out that and then put a fade across it, so you've got the natural sound going into the EQ'd sound, you'll be amazed what you can get. So great, so that's the basics of the song. That's the complete breakdown. We've used a summing console. We're going to listen down one more time from the top, see if there's anything we've missed out. Slide guitar carrying it here. Comes the verse vocal. The verse vocal was pushed above the decay. See the volume right there, because Brendan's vocal went over it. A second synth is coming here. Transition. Break for the drum fill. All gang vocals using the CLA Magic plugin. Continuous lines going through, holding it together. Re-intro.
You're gonna fall down, but you gotta stand every sunrise, new beginnings will come. So keep on keeping on when life gets hard. If you wanna find truth and you wanna be free, you wanna see change, you gotta believe.
Bass is going for it here, a little bit more rocking.
Gotta keep on keeping
Got those wah-ohs in there.
when life gets hard. We are the young and
Chorus comes in on my master fader. Pushing it up, about half a dB. See the rides here. The only EQ I've got going on is just high passing 32. Going into my Beatles Karma Police bridge. Delay on the vocal. And this extra delay coming up in a minute. Breakdown chorus.
We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and
Vocal here,
restless.
delay.
We are one. We are the young and restless. Together no
Big change
one can
here.
stand against us.
Crazy electric outro guitar.
Young and restless. We are one. We are the young and restless. Together no one can stand against us. We are the young and restless. We are one.
Outro. The wah and the slide guitar twice. There's even a guitar going at the end, which we kept. So there it is. That's the basics of the song. Hope you enjoyed part 3 of the Gallery Young and Restless. This has been a lot of fun to be able to give you these multi-tracks and have you mix along with me. Please leave a bunch of comments and questions below. Don't forget to download those multi-tracks, hit the subscribe button, and all kinds of other fun things. Happy day after Boxing Day. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. We're coming up to New Year's.